I'm Nina.
And I'm Andrea. And this is Cults, Crimes, and Spirits. Are you ready to get into part 2?
I am ready to get into part 2.
Let's go.
Okay, so when we left off last week, notorious gangster John Dillinger had met his end in an alleyway beside the Biograph Theater in Chicago after he was betrayed by his friend Anna Sage, who turned Dillinger over to authorities in hopes of not being deported back to Romania. But that didn't happen.
Damn, sorry about it.
Anna did receive $5,000 worth of the reward money, though, for helping authorities take him down. But ultimately, she was still deported back to Romania.
Gotta go home, shouty.
Yeah.
Although a sad ending for Dillinger, being betrayed by someone he trusted, someone he considered a friend, he knew it was coming. As stated by PBS, Dillinger reportedly said, "I'm traveling a one-way road, and I'm not fooling myself as to what the end will be. If I surrender, I know it means the electric chair. If I go on, it's just a question of how much time I have left."
And he didn't have much time left because at the ripe old age of 31, Dillinger had run out of time.
Damn. We're 31.
Yeah, we're 31. That's crazy.
That sucks.
He looks like he's 41, though. Like, he looks way older.
Yeah.
I think it's weird how, like, people back then looked so much older.
Yeah. Oh, maybe because they were out in the sun a lot. Maybe the sun aged them. I don't know.
That's what I've heard. And a lot of people back then, like, I mean, people still smoke, but a lot of them were, like, smoking with, like, no filters and
rolling their own cigarettes and stuff. Tobacco.
Yeah. They were living a hard life.
Yeah.
And it
working
definitely
hard jobs, too, will weigh on your body.
Yeah. Or being criminals.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, that's
worrying
stress
about the police
gets
capturing
to you.
Yeah.
Couple stress lines here, couple stress lines there.
Yeah. And he had plastic surgery and he still looked old, so, you know.
The fuck's wrong with
Yeah. Supposedly, after Dillinger's body was moved from the alleyway beside the Biograph, onlookers, like, dipped their handkerchiefs in, like, his blood that was left behind.
Alright, fucking freaks. What the fuck? Are you gonna sell them for 25 cents on the black market?
I mean, I guess there was, like, a market for this because people were, like...
Dude, there had to have been.
Yeah, because they were, like, taking stuff off of Bonnie and Clyde and from their car and, like, all kinds of stuff, so... I don't know. People were morbid back then, too.
How do you think those things stay around? And, like, someone's great-great-grandparent had it, and, like, they got it, and now they're, like, giving it to the museum.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff has ended up in museums, but I'm sure some weirdos like myself, if I had money, would have this in, like, a private collection. But I don't...
A bloody handkerchief?
I don't like blood, so I definitely... Yeah, I probably would have stayed away from that one. But yeah, morbid curiosity of people. After Dillinger was pronounced dead, officially, at a local hospital, his body was moved yet again, this time to the Cook County morgue, where thousands of people showed up to view his body, much like Bonnie and Clyde. I mean, people were just like... I mean, I guess, you know, they didn't have phones and internet, so this was like the happening shit back then. They were like, oh, another gangster's dead, let's go.
We gotta go. Yeah, let's check it out.
Let's not go to the movies tonight. Let's go look at this dead body.
There was a rumor that John Dillinger had a very big, Dillinger, if you know what we mean. There's actually a photo of John on a metal slab. Oh, shit. At the county morgue. He is covered with a sheet. Only his head and feet are exposed. And his arm, probably pretty stiff from, you know, being dead and all.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Was sticking up. And because of the sheet, it looks like it's his penis. According to PBS, Newspapers would only run this photo after they retouched it to remove the bulge.
The bulge.
Because it looks so much like it could be his penis.
His penis.
Because I'm just like, they're like, here's the pic for the front page. They're like, nah, his dick looks huge. Fuck that, we gotta edit this.
He's had enough. They're like, we're not giving him that too. No.
Nah. He don't get to die with that dignity, if you get me what I'm...
Oh gosh. I've seen the photo and it does look like his penis. Like, that's what I thought originally when I saw it. I was like, wait, what's going on here?
Silly.
But these rumors were put to rest after his autopsy revealed that his endowment was actually normal size.
What's normal size, though, you know?
Yeah, exactly. After his autopsy, Dillinger was prepared to be moved another time. This time back to his hometown of Mooresville, Indiana. I know this guy moved more after death.
How many times are they gonna move this poor dead man? Well, at least he's going back home.
Yeah, he's going back home this time. So...
I felt like Forrest Gump. At least going back home.
Reportedly, Dillinger's father was worried about how he was going to pay for the funeral expenses, and according to grunge.com, a Wild West show offered Dillinger's father $5,000 for his son's body, which they planned to put on display. And his father, of course, refused.
Just $5,000? Like,
well, $5,000 back then was probably a lot, you know.
Probably, but still.
Yeah. But
let's display your son's dead body. Like,
yeah.
what?
Again, morbid curiosity, because people would, again, line up like they did at the morgue to see the body. So exactly. It's actually a good business plan. Yeah. So his dad refused, and Dillinger was going to be buried at the Crown Hill Cemetery in Indiana, and people were pissed. They did not want him to be buried in the cemetery, and apparently the cemetery received tons of phone calls from people that were just like, no, I don't want him buried near my relative. Like, they're dead. They probably won't care, but I care.
Damn, Karen, chill. It's a graveyard.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna hurt nobody. D-E-A-D, dead, Karen. Spell that shit.
But, yeah, I mean, yeah. I want to, if I'm ever in Indiana, I'm totally going to see John Dillinger's grave at this cemetery.
Yeah. It'd be kind of cool.
Ultimately, dressed in a gray herringbone suit, which I did not know. My mom had explained to me. It's like a pattern. But, yeah, a gray herringbone suit. Dillinger was buried at the Crown Hill Cemetery. So, apparently the cemetery was like, nah, his dad owns a plot here, so, like, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, like, deal with it. Sorry about it. They paid. We got our money. That's all we needed.
So, when he was buried on July 25th, 1934.
Damn. His anniversary's coming up.
It is. His body was encased in 2.5 tons of concrete.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. Apparently his family decided to have his body placed in concrete to prevent his body from being scavenged by grave robbers. They're probably trying to stop that Wild West show from coming back. Yeah.
For real. They ain't taking my son's body. But according to the Rolling Stone in 2019, Michael C. Thompson, Dillinger's nephew, filed a permit with the Indiana Department of Health to have Dillinger's corpse exhumed. Why, you might ask? Because after Dillinger was killed, there was a rumor that it wasn't actually John Dillinger. Because of the plastic surgery and everything, and some of Dillinger's relatives don't believe that he was killed on July 22nd, 1934. Outside the Biograph Theater. They believed that a look-alike was shot dead instead. They wanted to exhume the body to put those long-standing rumors to rest with DNA testing.
The permit was actually approved, and the exhumation date of September 16th, 2019 was scheduled. But then, the Crown Hill Cemetery, where Dillinger is buried, refused permission for the exhumation.
This is like a battle.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones stated that Dillinger's nephew and great-nephew filed a lawsuit with the Marion County Superior Court in an effort to supersede the cemetery's decision, but the court ultimately sided with Crown Hill Cemetery in December. The window to appeal the decision was January 15th, but the Dillinger family instead opted to abandon their exhumation efforts altogether.
But there was also a planned documentary with the History Channel that I believe the family was involved with, and they were going to cover the planned exhumation of Dillinger's body. Well, after the exhumation plan was halted, the History Channel apparently bailed on the documentary. So it kind of makes you wonder what the real motive was behind wanting to dig up Dillinger's body.
So, like, was it for the family to really get DNA testing, or was it for this documentary that they were probably
Exactly.
going to get paid a lot of money for?
And also, the dude's buried in concrete. I would have totally watched that because I kind of want to see, like, how the heck they even
Yeah.
get to it. But
Yeah, for real, how do you get that out?
yeah. As stated by CNN, the FBI responded to all this talk about digging up Dillinger's body with a tweet. They said, quote,
A tweet! Tweeted, lead.
a tweet. And they said, quote, a wealth of information supports Dillinger's demise, including 3 sets of fingerprints, all positively matched. So despite him trying to burn off his fingerprints with acid, remember, that we
Oh
mentioned
my god,
last week?
actually, listen to this shit.
What?
That's weird. Because this weekend I was watching I Almost Got Away with It, and
Mm-hmm.
this guy was being accused of murdering his wife, and he went on the run. And at one point he said he would dip a finger every day for like a week and then go to a different, like he would alternate his fingers, and he like burned them all almost off except one got like black and he had to go get the tip of his finger cut off.
Oh my goodness. So he went to the hospital and they didn't even catch him?
No. He eventually got caught like later in the episode, but I'm like, that sucks. You did all that with the acid and you fucking, that's painful.
Yeah.
Like,
Apparently it didn't work for Dillinger either because
yeah,
despite
that
doing
sucks.
that, they were
You
still
have
able
to
to
get the
get,
whole finger. And that's
yeah.
where that guy messed up, because when they asked him to come in for questioning, they did his fingerprints and like they got like just enough of like the sides
Yeah.
or something to like match him. And he
That's what
was like,
happened with
fuck.
Dillinger. They were able to match like
Mm-hmm.
3 different points or whatever, and it was enough to positively identify him, even though like the rest of his fingers, I guess, were kind of messed up.
Isn't that wild? Like you could go through all that pain and like time of like trying to burn your fucking fingerprints off and still not do it right.
Yeah. So the moniker of Public Enemy Number One gained its popularity in the media in 1934, and the title of Public Enemy Number One was given to various other criminals by the FBI. But the title was not like an official ranking or anything. Instead, it was just more used by the media and like pop culture at the time to refer to like the gangsters of the time. Yeah, the term really isn't used in any official capacity today.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
Unfortunately, it'd be cool to be like turn on your TV and be like, Public Enemy Number One. Like, oh
The
shit.
only time you ever hear that is in like old rap songs. Like
Yeah.
you'll hear like Public Enemy, but I don't know if you hear Public Enemy number 1, number 2, number 3.
Wasn't there like a group back in the day, like a rap group called Public Enemies or something? Public Enemy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I
I
thought
think
so.
so.
Yeah. Hang on. I'm looking it
Did you
up.
Google it?
Yes. Public Enemy is an American hip hop group formed by Chuck D and Flava Flav. Oh, it's Flava Flav's group on Long Island, New York in 1985. Okay.
Flava
Yeah.
Flav.
Flava Flav with the clock.
Funny story about that. I went to a Halloween party one year and I didn't have a costume because I didn't think I had plans. And then I went to like my homegirl's Halloween party and I was like, fuck, I gotta go get shit. And so I went and I bought fake grills, I bought fake like bling rings, and I bought a big ass clock. And when I got there, a lot of people were like, Flava Flav, and I was like, no, I'm trying to be just like a gangsta ass bitch, like, hey, and they were like, you shouldn't have gotten the clock then. Yeah. And I was like, damn, this clock is like throwing it off, because I had like big ass hoop earrings and shit, like.
I did not know you ever did that.
Hard. Is there I have pictures. I'll find. Yes. Yeah. Oh, there's multiples. I'll find.
Yes. We'll post them to social media. Follow us for more.
Yeah, I'll find them. Don't you worry. I'm queen of taking pics. I have always been since I could own a camera.
I do not remember those though. How long ago was this?
God, this was back when I was like 20.
Oh gosh,
maybe 21. Maybe so 10 years.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because like I eventually took those like fake grills I bought out and we just used like gun wrappers or tinfoil. And I used those, and I like ripped the clock off. And I think at one point, like one of my friends was the Ice King, and someone else was someone else from Adventure Time, and I stole like one of their like things, and I was like, I want to just be random.
Yeah. Well, that sounds fun. I definitely want to see the pictures.
Yes, but where were we? Oh yeah, the day after John Dillinger's death.
Yeah.
We were talking about Public Enemy. Public Enemy is not really referred to criminals nowadays.
Yes.
It's like fugitives or wanted. I don't know.
I know. They really need to bring back Public Enemy. But anyways, the day after John Dillinger's death, another gangster was named America's new Public Enemy #1, Pretty Boy Floyd.
Oh shit. Pretty Boy Floyd and this bitch.
So get this. The anniversary of this podcast is February 3rd. That's when our first episode aired.
Yes, it is. The day music died.
Yes. And Pretty Boy Floyd was born on February 3rd, 1904 in Adairsville, Georgia. And you live in Georgia.
Weird. I do live in Georgia. That's a weird connection there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't stay in Georgia. He and his family moved to Oklahoma when he was still like very little, and his family was very poor. He got married at the age of 20, and shortly afterwards, his wife Ruby gave birth to a son named Charles Dempsey Jack Floyd, which I think they called him Jack. In 1925, Floyd was involved in a robbery that landed him in prison. Ruby,
he done got locked up.
Yeah, he done fucked up. So Ruby decided to divorce Floyd while he was still in prison, much like Dillinger's wife did. She then took custody of their son, and just like Dillinger, while Floyd was in prison, he learned from more experienced criminals and was eager to put his education to use when he got out.
Of course, he's like, I have no wife, I have no son. Teach me how to fucking shoot guns. Floyd was paroled from prison in 1929. After getting out, he received word that a man by the name of Jem Mills was the one who shot and killed his father. Oh, Jem had also... Yeah, this is about to get... Whew.
Spicy.
Yeah. Jem had also been acquitted of the crime, but after Floyd got out of prison, Jem was never heard from or seen again. So it is popular belief that Floyd did kill his ass.
Killed his ass?
Straight up murked that motherfucker.
And so, like, all this was happening at the same time of, like, the Great Depression, Prohibition, all of that. Floyd came...
A lot of bad shit's just going on.
Yeah, Floyd, he came from a poor family, and he wanted more, so, again, turns to a life of crime, yeah.
Pretty Boy Floyd.
So one night, Floyd's just hanging out at a Kansas City boarding house, and he met a woman by the name of Beulah Baird.
Bard.
It's Baird.
Baird.
I try to put like a pronouncer.
Her name's fucking weird. Beulah Baird. The fuck?
And I still messed it up.
No,
Beulah
but like
Baird.
that's a Beulah Baird, get your ass over here.
He met Beulah, and she became his girlfriend. She eventually became his girlfriend. And she's the one who gave him the nickname Pretty Boy Floyd, and supposedly he hated it. He didn't like it, and it became his thing. Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry about it. That seems like a theme for this episode. Like, oops, sorry about it, man.
Sorry about it. Like Dillinger, Floyd was an avid bank robber, and law enforcement sometimes got murdered when he was around. That's kind of what landed him on the FBI's radar.
But things really started to go downhill for Floyd in 1933 with his alleged involvement in the Kansas City Massacre.
Yeah, the Kansas City Massacre happened on June 17th, 1933. When law enforcement officers were in the process of transporting fellow criminal and friend of Pretty Boy Floyd's, Frank Nash, back to the U.S. penitentiary at Leavenworth, Kansas, where he had recently escaped. As stated by the FBI, the law officers drove Nash from Fort Smith, Arkansas, where at 8:30 that night they boarded a Missouri Pacific train bound for Kansas City. It was due to arrive there at 7:15 a.m. on June 17th. Before leaving, the lawman had made arrangements for Reed E. Vetterly, special agent in charge of the FBI's Kansas City office, to meet them at the train station. Nash's criminal friends apparently learned of this plan and when Nash was due to arrive in Kansas City, and they made arrangements of their own to free him from police custody.
They're coming for you. In a good way. They're coming to get you.
No, that's not good. It goes to shit real quick. According to the FBI, the plan to free Nash was engineered by Richard Tallman Galatas, Herbert Farmer, Doc Louis Stacy, and Frank B. Malloy.
Vernon Miller was designated to free Nash, and while at Malloy's Tavern in Kansas City, he made a number of phone calls for assistance in the scheme. At about this time, two gunmen, Pretty Boy Floyd and Adam Ricchetti, arrived in Kansas City, and they agreed to aid in the mission.
While on their way to Kansas City, Floyd and Ricchetti had some car trouble in Missouri. While the pair were waiting to get their car repaired at a local garage, the sheriff walked in. Ricchetti and Floyd whipped out their guns and basically ordered everyone to freeze. They then transferred all of their stuff into another vehicle, including the sheriff. They loaded him up too, and they took off.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they kidnapped the sheriff. Then, a little while later, they stopped and they released the sheriff and stole another car and then continued on to Kansas City. When they arrived in Kansas, they stole yet another car and then met Vernon Miller at his home, where they discussed their plans for freeing Nash. So they stole like what was that, like 3 cars?
Yeah,
in like
and a sheriff.
Less than a day. Yeah, and a sheriff.
The next morning, the three of them made their way to the Union Railway Station and got into their positions, and they waited. And 7 officers made their way from the train out to the 2 cars that were waiting on them when they were ambushed by Ricchetti, Floyd, and Miller. A hail of gunfire erupted, and 4 of the 7 officers accompanying Frank Nash were dead. Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
That's what I was saying. It went to shit real fast. So special agent for the FBI, Raymond J. Caffrey, chief of police for McAlester, Oklahoma, Otto Reed, detective for the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, William J. Grooms, and detective for the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, Frank Himerson, were all killed.
Damn. Also, 2 other agents were injured, and another was super lucky and didn't even get injured. That's insane. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a
But
lot of unfortunate people dying and people being injured.
yes, and unfortunately, the man that the gangsters came to free, Frank Nash, was also a casualty of the gunfire. So, mission failed. Yep.
What the hell? At least don't hit your friend, homie. Get someone that's good to aim. Like, what the fuck?
Although there is much speculation that Pretty Boy Floyd was actually not involved in the Kansas City massacre, and he himself supposedly proclaimed he was innocent of this crime. But I don't know for sure. I don't know if anyone really knows for sure, because according to the FBI, he was involved and he was there, and witnesses and stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah. But anyways, after the massacre, Rakiti and Floyd met up with Floyd's girlfriend, Beulah, and her sister,
Beulah.
Rose.
Good old Beulah. Oh, at least her sister got a pretty name.
Beulah and Rose. So Rose, Beulah's sister, was apparently Rakiti's girlfriend. So, like, the 4 of them were all together, and they got an apartment under, like, assumed names in New York City, and just kind of kept a low profile for a while.
Yeah, until October 1934, the 4 purchased a car to take them west. On October 20th, Floyd was driving the car when he ran off the road and hit a telephone pole in Wellsville, Ohio. Floyd and Rakiti hid out nearby while their girlfriends took the car in to be repaired.
Meanwhile, the police chief of Wellsville, J.H. Foltz, received reports that there were 2 suspicious-looking men hanging out on the outskirts of town. After another short gun battle, Rakiti was apprehended, and Floyd escaped.
Damn, Pretty Boy Floyd on the run again.
Uh-huh. Rose and Beulah also fled the area after hearing about Rakiti being apprehended. They were like, oh shit, the heat is on.
Yeah, we gotta get the fuck out.
So Melvin Purvis, remember him? He assisted in the takedown of Dillinger. Also, he is played by Christian Bale in the Public Enemies movie, which we're going to discuss here in a few minutes. Well, he came to Ohio with a team of agents ready to take down Pretty Boy. And officers, while they were out patrolling for Pretty Boy, apparently noticed a suspicious car pull out from behind a corn crib on a farm. You ever heard of a corn crib?
No, what's a corn crib?
Apparently it's used to dry and store corn, but I've never heard of that.
Sense, but
yeah.
Where we're from, we grow the corn, we get it off the stalks, we shuck it, and we eat it.
Yeah.
We very rarely dry it. We go buy that from the farm store.
Yeah. So, but I guess out in, like, Ohio, there's, like, I guess it was, like, a lot of corn farms. Yeah.
Yeah, for, like, gas, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways, that's not important.
No. What is important is officers didn't know it was Floyd at the time, but they were questioning everyone in the area, so, because they were trying to find Floyd. So they decided to approach the car.
And when they did that shit, Floyd got out the car with a .45 caliber, and there was more gunfire, and this time, Floyd was hit. As officers approached, Floyd muttered what was allegedly his final words, "I'm done for. You've hit me twice." He died about 15 minutes later, on October 22nd, 1934, exactly 3 months after John Dillinger died.
That reminds me, have you ever seen Archer?
No.
There's, like, this one, he's like, you done got old Rando. You done got old Rando. This is what makes
you done got old Pretty Boy Floyd. Yeah. You done got him. You hit him twice, he's done for.
Again,
Reminds me of all the fucking gunfire during the Hattonfields and McCoys I've been watching. They kill so much. They don't care.
I really want to go to the dinner theater of the Hatfields and McCoys and Pigeon Forge.
Now I do. Let's do it. Let's plan for it. That'd be fun.
But again, same situation. Crowds of curious people, like thousands, showed up when they learned about Floyd's death. You know, people love gawking at bodies, back then.
Yeah, they love just, I gotta go see it.
Yeah. Like, they put it on, and back then, you didn't even have to go see it, because they would put it on the front page of the newspaper.
Yeah, after they blurred your big dick out.
Yeah, apparently. Charles Arthur Floyd was buried on October 28, 1934, in a small cemetery in Atkins, Oklahoma. His funeral was the largest in Oklahoma history, and the scene was chaotic. Yeah. Reportedly, people brought picnic lunches and were eating off the tombstones, knocking some of them over and trampling on other graves to get a glimpse of, Floyd.
Come on now, that's disrespectful.
Hell yeah, it is. But I mean, I'm just picturing these people with their picnic lunches.
Yeah, chilling in the graveyard, waiting to see Pretty Boy.
Yeah, sounds like a great afternoon. Rose and Beulah had actually fled to Floyd's family home in Salusa, Oklahoma, where they ended up attending the funeral of Pretty Boy Floyd. Ricchetti was executed for his crimes on October 7th, 1938, via the gas chamber.
What a brutal way, man.
Yeah. I feel like back then there wasn't really a good way. And apparently not now either, because, the botched execution where they were doing the lethal injection and that shit went wrong. Ugh. A month later, on November 27th, 1934, Dillinger's associate, Babyface Nelson, remember him? He was also brought down by authorities. When Inspector Samuel P. Cowell of the FBI's Chicago office got word that Nelson had been spotted in a stolen car nearby. 2 other special agents discovered the car close to Barrington, Illinois. Nelson somehow pulled the car around behind the agents, and his partner, John Paul Chase, another John, fired 5 rounds into the agent's car. One of the agents managed to shoot back and was able to temporarily disable Nelson's car by hitting the radiator. Inspector Cowley and Special Agent Herman Edward Hollis soon approached Nelson and Chase in another car, and a chase began that involved more gunfire, of course.
Duh, they're gangsters.
Yeah.
Bang, bang.
Yeah. Bang, bang. And unfortunately, Special Agent Hollis was killed that night, and Inspector Cowley died the next morning from injuries he sustained during the gunfire. Damn. Nelson and Chase loaded their things into Inspector Cowley's car. So, not only did they shoot the guy, they stole his car and fled the scene. Nelson's wife, Helen Gillis, was hiding out nearby, and the boys stopped and scooped her up as they fled. But Nelson, he didn't escape this one unscathed. He also sustained gunshot wounds during this exchange with Cowley and Hollis, and Nelson also ended up dying later that evening.
Damn, dude. Dropping like flies out here.
Yeah, 1934 was a bad year for gangsters.
Yeah, for real. The next day, FBI agents received an anonymous phone call telling agents where they could find Nelson's body. They went to the spot the caller said to go to and found Babyface Nelson's lifeless body near a Niles Center, Illinois cemetery. Nelson's body was taken to the Cooks County morgue in Chicago, the same place Dillinger's body was sent to. The public, of course, lined up to see his body as well, like they always fucking do. Fucking weirdos. Yeah. Gotta see another gangster's dead body. Gotta make sure he's dead.
Yeah. His body was then released to the Sadowski Funeral Home And on December 1st, dressed in a brown suit and a white shirt, Nelson was laid to rest next to his father at the St. Joseph Catholic Cemetery and Mausoleums in River Grove, Illinois.
Yeah, and guess what? Good old Helen Gillis was arrested on November 29th for violation of parole and got 1 year and 1 day in prison. Helen never remarried, and she ended up dying at the age of 73 due to a cerebral hemorrhage. She was buried right next to Nelson.
Yeah, and apparently she remained like really close with his family over the years. And I think that's crazy. She got 1 year and 1 day. I mean, she didn't really do anything other than like aid in a bed, I guess.
Yeah, but she violated her parole.
Yeah. So, in the past 2 episodes, although the primary focus has been Dillinger, we talked about Babyface Nelson and Pretty Boy Floyd as well, because they are also mentioned in the 2009 film Public Enemies, starring Johnny Depp and Christian Bale. So here's my problem with the film.
Let me know, because I've never seen it and I want to watch it, but tell me what's the problem.
It's a good film. I mean, definitely watch it. It's cool. I mean, it captured my attention.
But their facts aren't 100% in order, right?
Yeah, but yeah, it's not. Do not watch it for historical accuracy, because in real life, Dillinger was killed July 22nd, 1934. Pretty Boy Floyd next on October 22nd, 1934. Then finally, Babyface Nelson on November 27th, 1934. So in the film, towards the beginning of the film, officers first shoot down Pretty Boy Floyd, which is played by Channing Tatum. I didn't even realize it was him at the time when I first watched it.
First person to die is wrong.
First person to die is totally wrong. Yeah, the first person they kill is Pretty Boy Floyd. Because then later on in the film, Christian Bale's character, Melvin Purvis, walks in and it's talking to Dillinger when they catch him at one point. And he's talking to him, and Dillinger, or Johnny Depp, congratulates him on killing Pretty Boy Floyd. Well,
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that wouldn't have happened. So,
no.
Then, next to die is Babyface Nelson, played by Stephen Graham. Then finally, John Dillinger is taken out at the very end.
Like, yeah, they did that for some weird reason. I don't know why.
I mean, I would have, if they were going to do it and they wanted to show, like, maybe they wanted to show that, like...
Maybe they wanted Johnny Depp to be in it more than someone else. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, he could have, because I mean,
maybe they're like, he's the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have to take people out like that so soon.
No, and like, what I would have done is, instead of killing, showing Pretty Boy Floyd getting killed, I would have, like, showed Bonnie and Clyde getting killed. Like, maybe led with that, because they died in May, so they died before.
Yeah, leading up to all of this.
Yeah, so at least it would have been in an order. And then at the very end of the film, I would have had, like, Dillinger being killed, and then I would have had, like, TV or radio announcer or somebody say, America's new public enemy #1, Pretty Boy Floyd, or something, and then it just go off. So it's like, I didn't understand why they did that. Because I feel like
no one knows.
It could have still went in a chronological order and still been about John Dillinger, mainly.
Yeah.
But also showed other gangsters. But anyways, that's my big problem with it. Also, in the film, there are a couple of other inconsistencies. I mean, there's inconsistencies in every film, because you have to change things or condense things to
for cinema.
Yeah, for it to fit in a 2-hour movie and make sense. So, but there's a prison break in the opening of the film, and when Dillinger's friends break out of the Indiana State Prison, he helped smuggle guns in for them to break out. Well, he wasn't a part of that prison break. Like, he helped get the guns in there for them to break out, but he was sitting in Lima, Ohio County Jail, because he had got arrested a few days before the jailbreak. So, but in the film, he's with them while they're breaking out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, some things like that I just feel like could have been done differently.
Handled.
But
yeah.
But overall, it's a good film, but it's just not accurate. But yeah, so moving on from that, my pet peeve of that, have you ever heard of Death Mask?
No, what the hell is a death mask?
It's like a plaster cast of a dead person's face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So they make life masks all the time of like people for like movies or something. Like they'll take a plaster cast of someone's face or whatever so that they can make like special effects for them. The death mask is like the same kind of concept, except they're not making prosthetics for movies. They're just preserving that person's face, I guess, for different reasons. I don't know.
When they're dead, though.
Yeah,
like they
when they're
die
dead.
and then they do this.
Yes. So death masks have actually been a thing for centuries, and according to a biography, the Egyptians believed that the death mask, which would be buried with the individual, would allow the person's spirit to find his or her body in the afterlife. And in some African tribes, it was believed that death masks could imbue the wearer with the power of the deceased. But in the Middle Ages, they became less of a spiritual commodity and more of a way of preserving the memory of the dead. And death masks are they've also come in handy for like people who are doing sculptures of like a dead person.
Makes sense.
Yeah. There were death masks created from John Dillinger and Pretty Boy Floyd's corpses, but I couldn't find anything on Babyface Nelson having one. But they do try to make them as soon after as they can.
They die.
Like soon after the person dies as they can. And where they didn't get to Nelson's body till like the next day, like maybe maybe it wasn't a good idea. Yeah. Probably wouldn't have turned out as good.
No.
But Pretty Boy Floyd's death mask was kind of confusing to try to find its current location. I was doing some research, and it was for a long time on display at an East Liverpool, Ohio funeral parlor turned bed and breakfast, which is kind of cool. A funeral parlor turned bed and breakfast.
That's interesting.
Sounds like my kind of place.
A little spooky. Yeah.
Yeah, and just a little bit. And I think it was actually where he was embalmed too.
Weird.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So they had the death mask on display there for a while, but then I read that it may have been donated to the East Liverpool Police Museum, or potentially it could now be at the Spread Eagle Tavern in Hanover, Ohio. Interesting name.
What a name.
Yeah.
Spread Eagle Tavern, LOL.
So, not entirely sure where his death mask is, but I'd say it's at one of the three places. And I actually got to see one of John Dillinger's death masks. This is how I knew that this was a thing, because I didn't really know it was a thing until I went to the Alcatraz East Crime Museum in Pigeon Forge. So there were like several masks that were made from his actual body, and then there's been copies of the mask.
Yeah, like an artist makes a photo, and then they make prints off of it, like that.
Yeah. So like, and so there's copies, and then there's some that were actually on his face. And the one that the Alcatraz East Crime Museum had a plaque underneath it that read, "This is one of the 4 original plaster casts of Dillinger that was made while his body was at the Cook County morgue. During this time, a professor from Worcester College of Embalming Science snuck in with his students and made a latex mold of Dillinger's face. When caught by a policeman who confiscated the mold, a student named Marjorie McDowell flirted with the officer while the others quickly made another mold. It was from that mold that the eyebrow hair seen here, which I'll post a picture of this, seen here, was retrieved, and this plaster cast was made. The cast also shows a bullet exit wound under the eye. A second-generation copy of this mask was used in the opening sequence of the movie J. Edgar. Yeah, it was very cool, and I'll put, like I said, I'll post a
That is
picture,
cool.
and
That's crazy to see that
yeah,
in
and
person. That's dope.
the bullet wound under his eye, like you can actually see it, and it's
Oh shit.
that's the bullet that supposedly was the fatal one.
Ooh, I believe it.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you want to see that, follow us. Make sure you're following us on TikTok or Instagram at Cults, Crimes, and Spirits Pod, because I'll
Yes, we
definitely be
post a lot to
posting.
TikTok and Instagram. We also have
Yeah,
a Facebook. We will post there too. Whichever is your thing.
yeah. And if you're into old cars, the Alcatraz East Crime Museum also has one of John Dillinger's cars there, which is cool.
Ooh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's a 1933 Essex Terraplane, which he apparently purchased in like March of 1934, so not too long before his untimely death. And his car was shot at, leaving 2 bullet holes in the front of the car, and you can still see them.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
There is another car of Dillinger's on display at the Historic Auto Attractions in Roscoe, Illinois. The car is a 1932 Studebaker that was actually used in an Indiana bank robbery by Dillinger. The car was also loaned to the Public Enemies film, and Johnny Depp drove it in the actual film. They also have Pretty Boy Floyd's pistol and John Dillinger's shirt as well.
I really want to go there. They have a lot of stuff at that museum. Like they have a
That would be
gangster.
fun. I love going to stuff like that.
Yes, and they have all kinds of different exhibits, but they have a whole exhibit just on gangsters.
Hell yeah, dude. I'd be down.
Yeah, we need it. We're
So
finding
down.
all kinds of places we need to go. We need to go to Texas. We
I
need to go
know.
to
We need to start making a
Chicago.
list.
Yeah.
We need to make a list so we can check them off. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Call
Yeah.
it do the damn thing list.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, that's the end of us talking about old school gangsters for now. But we do
Yeah,
plan to
for
cover
now.
more in the future, like the real Machine Gun Kelly, Al Capone, Ma Barker and the Barker Gang, Bugsy Siegel, Bumpy Johnson, Stephanie St. Clair, and more.
Hell yeah, dude. Keep it G, you know? Keep it gangsta up in this bitch.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so that's about all we got on
We
Gangsters for now.
did the damn thing. Stay spooky, friends.
Stay tuned and stay spooky.